today. All right? Om Namo Bhagave Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavatu Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Vakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matamidam Tatradarana Para. Hare Krishna, we welcome you on YouTube Live and Facebook Live for this session on Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavatamrita. And we'd like to thank our participants for quiz on YouTube, Swati Mataji, Vijeta Mataji, Vrindavani Mataji, Hari Krishna Madali, Sweta Surya Narayan Mataji, and on Facebook, Ranjani Gopika Mataji, Shweta Mataji, and Meena Mataji. Thank you very much for participating in the quiz. And with this, we will get the blessings of the previous acharyas and start the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, chapters 11 to 15. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we will start with chapter 11, the perfect society for social classes. In this chapter, it actually describes the general principles. If we follow these general principles described in this chapter, a human being, specifically someone like all of you who are interested in advancing in spiritual life, we can become perfect, like all of us. By hearing about the characteristics of Prahlad Maharaj throughout the 7th canto, Maharaj Yudhishthir, he became very, very pleased. He became excited. Oh, Prahlad Maharaj, he is like the perfect person. Now he inquired, what is the actual religion of a human being? please tell me, what is this Varnashram Dharma? How do we follow it? Now remember, this is Treta Yuga. Yudhishthir, right after the Rajasuya sacrifice, he's asking Narad Muni all these questions. Shri Yudhishthira Uvacha Bhagavan Shrotumichhami Nrinam Dharmam Sanatanam Varnashramachara Yutam Yat Puman Vindate Param. Maharaj Yudhishthir said, my dear Lord, Narada, I wish to hear from you about the principles of religion by which one can attain the ultimate goal of life, devotional service. I wish to hear about the general occupational duties of human society and the system of social and spiritual advancement known as Varnashrama Dharma. When Maharaj Yudhishthira asked this, Narad Muni stopped giving his own statements and he started quoting statements by Lord Narayan, saying, Lord Narayan is the supreme authority. You want to know about Varnashram? I will tell you what he has explained. Just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam, Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. 4 Varnas are created by me, Krishna. And they are divided based on guna and karma, based on our qualities and activities. And he said, I want to tell you about Lord Narayan because in the previous chapters he said, Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. What is dharma? Something which the Lord himself has given. Because he said, before we start, if you want to be considered a human being, you need to have these 30 qualities. 30 qualities. He said these are the qualities there are general principles to be followed by all human beings. Before he starts telling about Varnashram, he said these are the general principles. Truthfulness, mercy, austerity, which means we perform fasts on certain days of the month, bathing twice a day. This is a general principle for a human being. Tolerance, discrimination between right and wrong, controlling the mind, controlling the senses, non-violence, celibacy, charity, reading of scripture, simplicity, satisfaction, rendering service to saintly persons, gradually taking leave of unnecessary engagements, observing the futility of the unnecessary activities of human society, remaining silent and grave, and avoiding unnecessary talk, considering whether one is the body or the soul. Just thinking about it. You don't have to come to a conclusion. Just if we think about it, that's human form of life. Distributing food equally to all living entities, including human beings and animals. Seeing every soul, especially in the human form, as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Hearing about the activities and instructions given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the shelter of saintly people. Chanting about these activities and instructions, always remembering these activities, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, trying to render service, Dasyam, performing worship, Archanam, offering obeisances, Vandanam, becoming a servant, becoming a friend, and surrendering one's whole self. These were the 9 processes of devotional service that Prahlad Maharaj had explained. Narad Muni says the same thing that he has taught to his disciple Prahlad Maharaj. O King Yudhishthir, these 30 qualifications must be acquired in the human form of life. Simply by acquiring these qualifications, one can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if we want to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we should try to cultivate these 30 qualities within us and try to understand, remember how we can cultivate these qualities. Then he starts talking about the Varnashram system, about Brahmanas, Varna and Ashrama. Varna is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And then he says, Each of them have to do some samskaras, some rituals for purification of the soul, of the mind. Then he said, Dvijas and Dvija Bandhus, those who were born out of Garbhadan Samskar, which means in the modern day, the man and woman, husband and wife, they come together, chant 50 rounds minimum, take permission from their spiritual master, and with the blessings, they actually start the process of conception. And then, because of their consciousness, immersed in Harikatha, immersed in Harinam, it attracts a great personality in the womb. So one who is born of Garbhadan Samskar, they are called Dvija. But those who are not, Dvija means twice born, but those who do not follow this, who deviate from the principles of Varnashram Dharma, they are called Dvija Bandhus, which means friends of the twice born. They are not actually Dvijas. So if someone is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, what are their qualifications? Brahmana, Yajan, Patan, Dana, Pratigraha, which means he performs yajna, worships the deities, engages others in the worship of the deity, engages others in yajna for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Patan, he studies the scriptures and then he teaches the scriptures to others. Dana, Pratigraha, he then accepts charity, and again, he accepts charity in monetarily, in material terms for his subsistence, and gives charity of transcendental knowledge. And in this way, Brahmana must make his livelihood from these six duties. Yajan, Patan, Dana, Pratigraha. Kshatriya, duty of Kshatriya is protection of the citizens. And then he levies taxes upon them as a result of the protection. But he should forbid taxes on Brahmanas. And Srila Prabhupada says, therefore, the government should not levy taxes on the members of the Krishna consciousness movement. And there are these non-profit organizations. There are no taxes. Kshatriyas may tax everyone but the Brahmanas. Vaishya, they should cultivate the land, produce food grains, protect the cows. And Shudras, they are by quality, they never become Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya. This is by quality. This is not by birth. I just want to explain. Narad Muni in the last verse of this chapter actually explains that it is based on guna and karma. The caste system, which is a deterioration of the Varnashram system, is based upon birth. That's not the proper thing. For Brahmanas, they can also do other kinds of livelihood, where it's called Shalina, Yayavara, Shila, Unchana, which means that they can do a livelihood achieved without effort, or going to the field to beg someone for some paddy, that's called Yayavara. Shila, picking up the grains that's left by the proprietor, or Unchanam, picking up the grains that have fallen from the bags in the shops. They can have these kind of occupational duties also. Each one of this is successively better than the other. But those, in times of emergencies, all the classes, but the Kshatriyas, they may interchange the duties of others. If there is emergency, there is famine, the Brahmanas should not say, whoa, I'm not going to help this Shudra or whatever the other person is. No, in terms of emergencies, you need to help each other. And then there are different kinds of livelihood. It explains Rita, Amrita, Mrita, Pramrita, Satyanrita. These are all so many details that's explained. Then it said that Brahmana and Kshatriya, they should be served by the Vaishyas and Shudras because they are the head of the society. And it is not like Brahmanas should demand that service. No, it is because of their tejas, because of their quality. The other classes of the society, automatically, the Vaishyas who are generating the economy, they automatically want to help the Brahmanas, seeing their qualities. Because Brahmanas are not greedy. So they want to give them so that they can use it for the benefit of the society. So Narad Muni said, a Brahmana is one who has controlled senses. What is the symptom of a Brahmana? Controlled senses. Symptom of a Kshatriya? Power and fame. That's what he wants. Symptom, but he wants to use that in the service of the Lord, in the service of the society. What is the symptom of a Vaishya? Symptom of Vaishya is service to Brahmana and Kshatriyas. And Shudra is service to all the three classes. These are like the limbs of the body of the society. The head is the Brahmana, the arms are the Kshatriyas, the stomach is the Vaishyas, which produces all the things, and the Shudras are the legs. Without legs, can the body walk? No. Shudras are as important as the Brahmanas in the society. But it is not to degrade someone. It is just based on one's own qualifications, qualities that they can, propensities that can be used in the service of the society and hence in the service of the Lord. For a woman, the qualification is to be a faithful and chaste wife. And so Narad Muni described all these different things. And then in the end, he says that designation by birth is forbidden because the symptoms of Kshatriyas, Brahmanas, Vaishyas, and Shudras are given right here. Therefore, we should not say based on the birth. It's not like that. Yasya yallakshanam proktam pumso varna bhivyanjakam yadanyatrapi drishyeta tattenaiva vinirdishet. This is 35th verse, the final verse. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, as described above, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. Even if someone is born in the Shudra family, but he's showing the signs of a Kshatriya, he's a Kshatriya, not that he's a Shudra by birth. That is very important. Just like Krishna says in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha. Okay. Then we go to chapter 12, the perfect society. Now he talks about the 4 different classes. Now ashramas. Earlier he was talking about Varna. In chapter 12 is about the ashramas. This describes about brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. But this chapter, Narad Muni focuses on brahmachari and vanaprastha specifically, especially because he's speaking to Yudhishthir Maharaj. There's a hint there, vanaprastha. So anyway, in this way, in this great saint Narad Muni, he described the Varna society. And now he will describe the spiritual advancement in 4 ashramas. This is all Varna and ashrama. What's the purpose? Is to satisfy Vishnu. Samsiddhir haritoshanam. That's extremely important. For spiritual advancement, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas is for spiritual advancement. It's not a status. Brahmachari, he should live under the care of the spiritual master. That brahmachari vasandantam gururhitam, which means he has to live in the Gurukul for the benefit of the spiritual master. Act as menial servant, always carrying out the order. He should engage this brahmachari in spiritual activities, study the Vedic literature. If we want to understand what is the qualification of a brahmachari, how should a grihastha behave, how should a vanaprastha behave, how should a sannyasi behave, it's all described in these 3-4 chapters, the last final chapters of the 7th canto. According to brahmacharya system, one should dress with a belt, a deer skin, matted hair, should bear a danda, water pot, and sacred thread. Srila Prabhupada said that in Kali Yuga, there can be no brahmacharis. But the reason we are able to have brahmacharis in ISKCON is because of the mercy and the desire of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Because he wanted an institution of sannyasis and brahmacharis. He created that. And Srila Prabhupada said, because of his mercy, we are somehow able to remain brahmacharis and have a brahmachari ashram And then he said he should collect alms in the morning. Whatever he gets, he should offer to the spiritual master. He should accept prasad, this brahmachari, just when the spiritual master orders. If the spiritual master forgets to order or does not order, he should fast that day. The brahmachari should be trained to be satisfied with eating whatever is just necessary. He should strictly abstain from living with women and should not meet grihasthas who are too addicted to women. Nor should a brahmachari speak in a lonely place with a woman. So 9th verse says, Nanvagni pramadanama Ghrita kumbha puman Sutamapi raho jayad Anyada yavadarthakrit. Woman is compared to fire, and man is compared to a butter pot. Therefore, a man should avoid associating even with his daughter in a secluded place. Similarly, he should avoid also association with other women. One should associate with women only for important business and not otherwise. This is extremely important for the protection, spiritual protection of the man. There's nothing, it's not to degrade women. It's actually for the spiritual protection of the man. The woman also should behave in this way for the spiritual protection of the society, of her spiritual protection, and for the spiritual protection of the man. And this is extremely important in today's day and world, in the world of the Me Too movement. Everyone is going back to this verse. And this is very practical. This has been 5,000 years ago. This was spoken by Narad Muni. It's as valid today as it was valid then. Because Prabhupada said, man is good, woman is good. But when they come together, it's like fire is good, butter is good. But when fire and butter come together, butter melts. After completing one's education as a brahmachari, then one should give Guru Dakshina as an offering of gratitude. And then enter into Grihastha ashram, or he can continue with the brahmachari ashram. Then he starts talking about Grihastha ashram and brahmachari ashram and sannyas ashram. Grihastha ashram does not mean that one has the license to enjoy sex life without restriction. The whole purpose of Vedic life is to become free from sexual indulgence. That's the goal. So we should keep that goal in mind when we enter into Grihastha ashram. It's all based on spiritual progress. And for some time, Grihastha ashram gives a license, but it's not for unrestricted sex life. Therefore, in Grihastha life also, there is no illicit sex. One should not accept a woman for sexual enjoyment, nor waste semen. That's also illicit sex. Because Grihastha ashram is also an ashram. Ashram is where we take ashray, where we take shelter. It's not Griha Medhi, it's actually ashrama where we take shelter. Then one can go into Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha, one is restricted in eating food and grains, forbidden to eat fruits that have not ripened on the tree, only ripened fruits. And then he should not cook with fire. He should eat only grains that have been offered in sacrificial fire, otherwise no grains for Vanaprastha. He can eat fruit and grains that have grown naturally, that's what he says. And one should, in the Vanaprastha means prasthan to Vana, means he actually goes to the Vana with the wife and endure all kinds of heat and cold, not cut nails, not cut hair. One should give up cleaning. It says one should give up cleaning body and teeth as well. Don't waste time. Completely absorb ourselves in Mukunda. One should wear tree bark except a danda, practice life in forest, taking a vow to either live for 12 years or 8 years or 4 years or 2 years or even for 1 year. One must do this and gradually stop everything on the way of giving up the body. This ends chapter 12, and then we come to chapter 13, where we talk about the behavior of a perfect person, a Paramhamsa. In the end, we'll see how Prahlad Maharaj meets a Paramhamsa. This described the regulative principles for sannyasis. We talked about the Varnas first, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Then we talked about the ashrama, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha. This is for sannyas ashram. It describes the principles for sannyasis and said that what are the regulative principles for sannyasis? One should retire from family life, accept Vanaprastha, and then after Vanaprastha, one just becomes a sannyasi. In the Vanaprastha, one should live in different places as a sannyasi without bodily comforts. Sometimes a sannyasi is also recommended to walk naked. Now, this is all in the Treta Yuga that it was talking about. In Kali Yuga, the only reason one takes sannyas as per Srila Prabhupada, as per Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as set an example, is for preaching. Spiritually, a sannyasi is dead. In fact, the sannyas mantras are the mantras that are given for a dead person, for a dead body. The mantras, Daha Sanskar, that's the sannyas initiation mantra. You are dead for the society, but you will engage with the society only for spiritual exchanges. So in this way, sannyasi should travel alone, not care for life or death, waiting for time to leave the body. He should not indulge in unnecessary books, or should not become an astrologer, or should not have any argument and things like that. Not try to allure people for material benefits to become his disciples. One can actually make disciples, and we should flood the world with disciples, but not for material benefit. The motive is actually being pointed out here. One should give the habit of reading many books, and it says even of making temples and mathas or monasteries for one's livelihood. For preaching, for sharing, go all out. Srila Prabhupada set that example. All our Guru Vargas in ISKCON are setting that example as sannyasis. But not for maintaining one's livelihood. That motivation is very important, because Krishna goes right to the motivation. He doesn't see what externally we are doing. He's seeing what is our motivation. Everything belongs to him. What can we give? Our love, our motivation. It's the thought that counts more than the thing that we are offering. So after all of this, it says, although fully learned, one should remain very silent, like a dumb person, but travel like a restless child. So now Narad Muni is describing a meeting between Prahlad Maharaj and a saintly Paramhamsa who adopted the life of Python. Madhukara Mahasarpo Lokesminno Guruttamo Vairagyam Paritosham Ta Prapta Yachikshaya Vayam. The bee and the python are two excellent spiritual masters who give exemplary instructions regarding how to be satisfied by collecting only a little, and how to stay in one place and not move. This one word that's used here is madhukari. Madhukara Mahasarpo. Just like Madhu, the honeybee, bumblebee, takes different places and collects only little. That's how we should be. That's what this Paramhamsa said. I live like that. And also from Python, that just stay at one place, be calm. Then text 42 says, different people are of different mentalities. This particular Paramhamsa is answering Prahlad Maharaj's questions that Prahlad Maharaj asked, you know what, I see that you are a little fat, but you don't work anything. He actually uses the word fat. You're a little fat. He's fat shaming him. And he's asking, how come you're fat? You don't eat much. You're a Paramhamsa. So then he says, well, Different people, different mentalities, different strokes for different folks. Therefore, it's not my business either to praise them or blaspheme them. I only desire their welfare. Anyone says anything to me, I don't mind. I don't want to distract myself from my meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I just hope that they will agree to become one in desire with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mental concoction of what's good, what's bad should be given up. And then the false ego should be invested into material energy. Then he starts saying in text 44 that a learned and thoughtful person must realize that material existence is illusion. Only by self-realization can we understand this. And he said, Prahlad Maharaj, I know you are a self-realized soul and a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, you don't care for public opinion or so-called scriptures. For this reason, I have described to you without hesitation the history of my self-realization. In this way, Narad Muni described the symptoms of a Paramhamsa, a supreme swan, a swan who can distinguish between matter and spirit, between water and milk. The person, Narad Muni says, who has attained this Paramhamsa stage, he knows this distinction between matter and spirit. He's not interested in sense gratification because he's deriving Param Drishtva Nivartate, higher taste in the devotional service of the Lord. So many things will come in our life. Storms will come in our life, and sometimes happiness will come in our life. We should not get swayed by any of them. How can we do that? By finding shelter, going deep inside our heart, and always finding shelter in the grace of Shri Shri Radharaman. In actually performing our sadhana. Come what may, we will wake up at 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m. and perform our sadhana. That is our shelter. And hear Srimad Bhagavatam, chant, perform Mangalarti, chant our rounds, and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Before that, we will not start our daily activities. That determination, if we have, we can take shelter of that sadhana. And then whatever comes in our life, whatever storms, we will be unshaken, unmoved. That is the shelter we need to take as a Paramhamsa, as it explains here. Because our only concern is to satisfy Krishna and Guru. We have given our life to our Guru, our word to our Guru. We must take it seriously. That's our relationship. We are building a relationship with Krishna while we are performing our sadhana. It's not just a routine process. We are building a relationship with Krishna, with the holy name, with our Guru. And that's how we remain satisfied. Then we go to chapter 14, Ideal Family Life. This chapter describes in detail the occupation of a householder, of a grihastha, based on time, place, circumstance, or as it says here, time, country, and performer. When Yudhishthira Maharaj, he became very, very inquisitive about the occupational duties of the householder. Narad Muni said, first duty of the householder is to be fully dependent on Krishna, on Vasudev. Try to satisfy him in all respects. This is the essence. This is the summum bonum of Grihastha life. Depend on Krishna to try to satisfy him. That's all. Then rest is the structure in which we can offer that dependence and take shelter of Krishna. And this devotional service we should perform under the instructions of authorities and the association of devotees who are actually engaged in this kind of devotional service. Then he said, beginning of devotional service, beginning of dependence on Krishna in Grihastha life is Shravanam. He said, in this way, the Grihastha's attraction to his family and children will be gradually reduced, his wife and children. His attraction and attachment will reduce, but affection will grow. Spiritual affection. It's not like, oh, attraction to the wife and children is gone. Now we don't care. No, you care more because you realize they are Krishna's property given in my care. So just like we keep someone else's property so carefully that no, nothing should happen because then it's my fault. It's not my property. I should actually take care of it much, much better. It's Krishna's property. The wife and children are a gift. The wife should think the husband and children are gifts from Krishna. I'm grateful for that and I will keep that gift very, very carefully. How we can do that? If we want to do that, we will not be able to do it unless we follow Shravanam. Beginning of devotional service. If we hear, then we can do it. Grihastha ashram, Shravanam is extremely important. In all ashrams, it's important. In fact, one of the sometimes Shravanam of what? One time there was a Brahmana. He came to a king, and this king had big, big ministers. They were all like motivational preachers, and they were all very, very grave. And so this Brahmana came with 3 murtis, 3 dolls he came up with. And then he kept the 3 dolls in front of the king. And he said, you have these great ministers. I want your ministers to identify what is the difference between these 3 dolls. If you can let me know, I will accept defeat. And so each of his ministers came. They were looking at each of them, and they looked exactly the same. There was no difference between any of the 3 dolls. First one came, the second one came, the king himself came, and then one minister, he came. He said, I'll try to find out, but I need a string, a wire. And so he took a wire, and in these 3 dolls, one of the dolls, he put the wire. It went in one ear, into the ear he put the wire, and it came out of the other ear of the doll. Then he took the same wire, put it in the ear of the second doll, and it went in and came out of its mouth. And then the third doll, it went in and didn't come out. And the minister said, this is the difference. They look exactly the same in form, in feature, but this is the difference. So what do we learn from there? That some people hear from one ear and then take it away from the other. That's not the kind of hearing that we must do in Grihastha ashram. Others, they hear from one ear and they just keep it within, which is good, which is better than taking it out of the other ear. But there are third doll. You put it in one ear, it comes out of the mouth. Hearing and chanting. Hearing and chanting. When we are chanting, when we are repeating, we are hearing. Repeating is also a form of hearing. Even if we repeat, even if we speak Srimad Bhagavatam, whether the others are hearing or not, one person is hearing. That's the person who's speaking, at least. So speaking is also a form of hearing. So it's very important that we hear in that way. Then as for the maintenance of the family, a grihastha, while earning whatever he requires for living, he should be very conscientious, and he should not just endeavor for simply accumulating the money unnecessarily, but enough that they can maintain the family. Externally, he may act in so many different ways, but internally, he should act as a self-realized person. We may go to the grocery for buying all the grocery fruits and vegetables. And a materialist may also go and do the same thing. What's the difference? It's internally. The materialist is thinking, what will I eat today? I will eat this, I will eat that, and let me take this and let me take that. But the devotee is saying, what will Krishna eat today? What can I offer to Krishna today? What will Krishna like? That's the difference. That is extremely important. His dealings with family members should be humble but firm, in terms of very affectionate, firm in one's devotional service, but very affectionate to the family members. The most difficult people to treat is family, because family cannot be converted based on speech. They will become devotees based on our actions. So if we just be very loving to them, they will automatically honor us and become devotees. Again, it says, Bhagavad Gita is said, Krishi go raksham vanijyam. Grihastha generally, they can do agriculture, cow protection, trade. They are special duties of the Grihasthas. And if by the grace of the Lord more money comes, then it should be properly engaged for Krishna consciousness movement. And but we should not be eager to get just for sensual pleasure. Yeah. So this is very important. How we and the most important aspect of Grihastha ashram that Narad Muni said is prasad. A Grihastha should not indulge in killing animals or birds for sense gratification. Just he should provide the necessities of life even to the dogs and the lowest creatures, but should not exploit them. One time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was living in Puri during his later years, every year there would be a great gathering in Puri with a large group of devotees. From Bengal, they would travel there to take darshan of the Lord. Shivananda Sen, who is an exalted devotee, he's living in Bengal. He usually made the arrangements for this journey. He maintained everyone. He made arrangements for residential quarters for everyone. And while going to Jagannath Puri, Shivananda Sen, there was a dog which followed Shivananda Sen. And Shivananda Sen supplied this dog food and maintained it. One day they needed to cross the river, and this boatman from Orissa, he would not allow the dog to get in the boat. And Shivananda Sen was not happy about this. He said he gave boatmen more money to take the dog across the river. One day when Shivananda Sen, when he was detained by a toll at a toll booth, his servant forgot to give dog its food. At night, when Shivananda Sen, he returned and he was taking his meal, he inquired from the servant, did the dog eat? This is Grihastha. And when he learned that the dog had not been supplied food in his absence, he was not happy. He immediately sent 10 men, find that dog first before I eat. All the Vaishnavas were astonished. Dog, haven't you heard the story of Maharaj Bharat? He was so attached to a deer. Now you're becoming attached to a dog. But this was different. This attachment, this was affection. He was offering him prasad. Then when all the devotees, they came to the place to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, suddenly they saw the same dog sitting a little apart from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu was throwing the remnants of this green dab, this coconut pulp, to the dog. And in his own way, Lord Chaitanya was smiling and telling the dog, chant the holy name, Krishna, Rama. And he was chanting, Bo, Bo. He was responding. He was chanting in his mind, Hari, Hari. And when all the devotees saw that this dog was eating green coconut pulp, Mahaprasad, directly from Lord Chaitanya, and chanting Krishna, Krishna, trying to again and again, they were very, very surprised. And Shivananda Sen, because of his natural humility, he came and he offered obeisances to his dog, to this dog, just to counteract his offenses, that he forgot. He felt himself responsible that his servants did not feed the dog properly. He paid obeisances to the dog. Next day, no one saw the dog because he circumambulated Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and obtained its spiritual body, departed for Vaikuntha. So even when we were in Vrajamandal Parikrama in 2019, we saw there was a dog. He was always following all the 1,000 devotees, the entire parikrama. Wherever we would see, when we would arrive at a particular spot for prasad, this dog would be there. And everyone, for the first few days, everyone was confused. Is it the same dog or is it different dogs who look the same? So someone tied a kind of a knot with a resham thing, with a silk cloth along around him, a red silk cloth, just to identify it is the same dog. And sure enough, the same dog would come again and again. It would go. One time we were crossing the boat. This dog was also on the boat. Somehow, this is such a great soul. And he was so quiet. He would be very, very patiently listening to the katha. Many of the devotees would come and we would be tired. But this dog, he would be sitting there right in front of the katha stadium. And every day he would hear, every very, very quiet, very, very obedient, would not disturb anyone, just absorb, as if he was absorbed in Harikatha in the Vrajamandal Parikrama, 30 days. And on the final day, when we came near Yamuna to end the Parikrama, he was there. He was following everyone. He didn't ask anything from anyone. He didn't disturb anyone. He was always, such great personalities are there. So a grihastha must offer prasad. That's very important. And then he said one should, hospitality for a grihastha is very important, to serve the guests. Atithi devo bhava. Whatever money a grihastha accumulates, by the grace of the God, one should spend in these 5 activities. Worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, receiving the Vaishnavas, distributing prasad, offering prasad to forefathers, and offering prasad to his own self. 3 of them are offering prasad. Forefathers, to his own self, and to the general public. And they should always be ready to worship everyone, and should not eat anything other than prasad. Yagya Shishtashina Santo Muchyante Sarva Kilvishay. Devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food that is offered in the sacrifice to Krishna first. We can say so many wonderful pastimes on Mahaprasad, but time is limited. So it says grihastha should also visit the holy places of pilgrimage. The 42nd verse says, Nanvasya brahmana rajan krishnasya jagadatmana punanta pada rajasa trilokim daivatam mahat. My dear King Yudhishthir, the brahmanas, especially those engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord throughout the entire world, are recognized and worshipped by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's the heart and soul of all creation. The brahmanas, by their preaching, sanctify the 3 worlds with the dust of their lotus feet, and thus they are worshipable even for Krishna. So the last verse says the same thing that the last verse of Bhagavad Gita says. Nacha tasman manushyeshu kaschin me priyakritama. There is no one more dear to me than he who preaches the glories of Bhagavad Gita to others, of Srimad Bhagavatam to others. A grihastha must engage in preaching, must engage in sharing this transcendental knowledge as given by Srila Prabhupada. And it's not like we should be like, there are so many different motivational speakers and they speak things, you are the one, you can conquer the world. Go, look at yourself in the mirror, and in the mirror you say, you are the best. You can change the world. Rise, awake, while mindfulness, while you are speaking, while you're doing anything, be awake, as if we were sleeping all this time. No. What does it mean to remain awake? To remain awake to self-realization. So when we speak and hear, we should hear from the transcendental knowledge. Brings us to chapter 15, instructions for civilized human beings. In the previous chapter, Narad Muni, he proved the importance of the Brahmanas In this chapter, he'll show differences between different grades of brahmanas. Amongst brahmanas, some are householders and attached to fruitive activities. They are also brahmana. Some are brahmanas who are attracted to austerities and penances and who retire from family life. They are known as vanaprastha. Vanaprastha brahmanas are at a higher level grade than the grihastha brahmanas. Other brahmanas, they are just interested in studying the Vedas and they are explaining the purport. Such brahmanas are called brahmachari brahmanas. And then there are other brahmanas who are sannyasi brahmanas, who are interested in different types of yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, things like that. So the householders must engage in these different types of activities, offering oblations to their forefathers, giving charity to other brahmanas, and all these different yagyas and sacrifices. Generally, the charity is given to brahmanas and sannyasis. But for Prabhupada here explains, for Shraddha ceremony of our forefathers, one need not make very elaborate arrangements. Just best process, Srila Prabhupada says, Shraddha ceremony, distribute Krishna Prasad. That's all. Just Krishna Prasad to all the forefathers, all the relatives, and Shraddha is complete. You may do all the ritualistic activities, but for making this ritual to spiritual, one must have the offering of Krishna Prasad. That's extremely important. Prabhupada says that is first class Shraddha ceremony. So this is important. The Brahmanas, they execute their regulative principles. And then it talks about we should not engage in irreligion. There is vidharma, paradharma, dharmabhas, upadharma, chaladharma, different kinds of adharmas, which is in the 12th verse of the 15th chapter. Vidharma paradharmascha abhasa upama chala adharma shakha panchema dharmagyo dharmavatyajet. There are 5 branches of irreligion, appropriately known as irreligion, which is vidharma, religious principles for which one is unfit, paradharma, abhasa, dharmabhasa, pretentious religion, upadharma, analogical religion, chaladharma, cheating religion. One who is aware of real religious life must abandon these 5 as irreligious. And then it talks about one who is not satisfied but by the mind, they fall into degradation. One must conquer lust, anger, greed, fear, lamentation, illusion, fright, unnecessary talks, prajalpa, violence, all these different things one must avoid. Otherwise, we will fall down. Those who are not devotees, it will cause fall down. And it talks about how a grihastha must go into vanaprastha, must become sannyasi, must be satisfied from whatever one gets, must chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and in this way he will perceive the bliss within himself. Then he talks about vantasi. Vantasi means someone who eats his own vomit. A sannyasi, a person who becomes a sannyasi, but then again becomes a grihastha, is vantasi. He had left it. He had vomited it out. He's eating it back. Then they talk about the best process for advancing in devotional service is to abide by the orders of the spiritual master. Only by that direction we can conquer our senses. Otherwise, there is no other way. Otherwise, we have to accept the cycle of birth and death. But if we have Archana Marga, we can relieve from the cycle of birth and death. Then he talks about so many different things, Pitri Yagya and Deva Yagya, different stuff here. You can read more detail there, but something which we'll end with, a very important, Narad Muni's previous to previous life. He said, in the previous life, in my previous life, Narad Muni is telling Yudhishthira Maharaj, I was a son of a maidservant, but even before that, I was actually a Gandharva. in a different kalpa, in another Mahakalpa. I existed as a Gandharva. My name was Upabarhana. Upabarhana. I was very respected by all these Gandharvas. I had a beautiful face, a pleasing, attractive bodily structure. I was decorated with flower garlands, sandalwood pulp. Very pleasing to the women in my city as Gandharva. Therefore, I was bewildered. I was always feeling lusty desires. Ekada deva satretu gandharva sarasam gana upahuta vishvashribhir hari gathopagayane. Hari gatha upagayane, which means on an occasion of Hari Gatha, where Kirtan of glorifying Hari was being told. He says, once there was a Sankirtan festival where the glories of Hari in the Gandharva Loka was being organized for the demigods by the Prajapatis, and the Gandharvas and the Apsaras were invited. I also went there, but when I went there, I did something very, very offensive. In the Hari Kirtan, I started glorifying the demigods and musically singing the glories of the Apsaras and the demigods surrounded by women. And the Prajapatis, they cursed me. They said, because you have committed an offense, you will immediately become a Shudra. And so in my next life, I became the son of a maidservant. And it said, there I served the Vaishnavas. Because I served the Vaishnavas, that curse became a blessing. And now I am Narad Muni. We know all about Narad Muni's past life. But he told Yudhishthir, you Pandavas are so fortunate that there are so many great saints who come from all over the universe to purify your house. And Krishna himself stays with you. He has said this again and again and again. Not out of enviousness, but out of appreciating the Vaishnavas, the Pandavas, and telling them you should be grateful, thankful. And then Narad Muni praised the mercy that was received from the Lord by the Pandavas. And then Maharaj Yudhishthir, after hearing this whole 7th canto, became ecstatic in the love for Krishna. And then Narad Muni left his place, and Shukadev Goswami starts describing the various, he actually ended describing various descendants of daughters of Daksha, which started from the 3rd, 4th, 5th canto. And here it ends the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So we have questions today. Quiz. How many qualities do we need to cultivate to please the Supreme Lord? Please name at least 5 of the 30 qualities. 5 of the qualities. Hint, hint. Second, who are the Dvijas? Third, what is the symptom of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra? Fourth, what should be the motivation to build temples? Fifth, what are the 2 examples of living entities cited to exemplify renunciants? Sixth, what is the first duty of a householder? Seventh, why are the Brahmanas and devotees so dear to Krishna? Eighth, what does chapter 15 primarily talk about? Ninth, what are the 5 irreligions one must abandon? 10th, who is a Vantasi? What is the best process of devotional service? Number 11. And number 12, what was the previous birth name of Sri Narad Muni? All right. So if you have any questions or comments, we can take now. Shiva Kumar Prabhu. Strictly following regulated life and performing sadhana is big challenge. Frequently falling down, getting up again and again. When that stability likely be reality for materially mixed grihasthas? That's a very practical question. Uh, it'll become a reality if we don't give up. Just don't give up. Keep following that. Keep following. We Krishna knows. Just like a child, the child gets up, walks, falls down. Again gets up, walks, fall down. But guess what? The innocence of the child is that he's not looking, he's not discouraged by falling down. He just gets up and walks again. He's not worried about, oh, I'm not succeeding, I'm not succeeding. It's not a big deal for him. And what about the parents? The parents are clapping and saying, come, come, come to me, come to me. And the child falls down, gets up, falls down, gets up. The parents are looking at how many times he got up. Similarly, Krishna is seeing, we may fall down hundreds of times. Krishna is seeing how many times do we get back up. That pleases Krishna. So even in our fall down, we can actually please Krishna if we can have the strength to get back up again. And from tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow is the new beginning. I will start Mangalarti every day like this. Next question. With modern social media trying to enforce Krishna conscious with kids are creating conflicts and frustrations, resulting in fall down and bore hens. How can one maintain balance in such cases? Well, generally, kids learn from the parents, not what the parents say, but what parents do. The parents may say, keep that phone down, keep this, don't watch TV. But the kids see the parents are always on the phone. The parents are always watching TV. So the kids, even though you're telling the kids not to do, they are seeing that the parents are doing the same thing. They'll do what the parents do, not what the parents say. So if we also have a safe time, one practical thing could be you could have a downtime of no phone after a certain time, and the parents also follow it. Then the kids would actually do the same. So that is one thing that you can do. Next, Shiva Kumar Prabhu again. What will happen to those who always wanted to follow Krishna, but due to external forces, they have destabilized focus and worship? Will they get back to hell due to halfway devotion? No. Krishna says, Arjuna asked the same question. What happens to such a person who has not completed his spiritual life? He started, but he couldn't complete. And Krishna says, Shrimatam, Shuchitam Shrimatam Gehe, Yoga Bhrashta Parantapa. Those who are Yoga Bhrashta, they take birth in the house of Shuchinam, meaning Brahmanas, spiritually advanced devotees, and Shrimatam Gehe, in the house of rich people, so that they don't have to worry about their sustenance and they can focus everything on spiritual life. So not hell. Neha bhikrama nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapi asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat na iha abhikrama nash asti. This devotional service is never destroyed. So we'll start from where we left. But yes, we may not complete in this life, but by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, if we follow Srila Prabhupada's directions, chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulative principles, preach as much as possible, serve Vaishnavas, in this lifetime we can go back home, back to Godhead. And then Krishna also says, Api chet suduracharo bhajate mamananya bhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hisaha. Even if one falls down, apichet suduracharo, falls down to durachar, this devotee, but he's bhajate mam ananya bhak, still worshipping me, sadhureva samantavya, he becomes sadhu very quickly. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. Next verse. Very quickly he becomes a dharmatma. Samyak vyavasitho hi sa. He gets back to his position. Okay. Next question, Raji Mataji. If the birth is not deciding factor for the varnas, then why karma was not recognized? Karna was not recognized, even though he has kshatriya qualities and cursed by Parshuraman too. Well, basically, even though he had the quality Parshuram, he said, I will only teach Brahmanas. And this particular Karna, he came in disguise of a Brahmana, said, I'm a Brahmana, teach me. Because Parshuram would not like Kshatriyas for some reason. And he killed 21 generations of Kshatriyas. So one time when Parshuram was taking rest on the lap, with his head on the lap of his disciple Karna, there was an insect which came and started biting Karna. Karna could have, gotten up, but he felt, oh, my dear Guru, my Guru Maharaj is sleeping on my lap. How can I wake up like this? I don't want to disturb my sleep. So he tolerated. The blood was coming out because of the bite of the insect. And that warm blood Parshuram felt on his face. And he woke up. And then he realized, how could you tolerate the biting? That means by quality, you are a Kshatriya. A Brahmana by quality would not be able to tolerate this. You are a Kshatriya by quality. So Parshuram identified him as a Kshatriya. Of course, as a result, he cursed because he was a Kshatriya, came as a Brahmana. So Parshuram identified him by quality, not by his work. And then, of course, there were politics and other things because of which it didn't work out for Karna. Okay, next question. In Varnashram system, if both husband and wife are into Vanaprastha, like staying in forest till they die, then how husband can take sannyas? A bit confused between Vanaprastha and sannyas in this point of view. Well, ultimately, we have to be Krishna conscious. Generally, human form of life is considered to be 100 years. At that time. So 25 years brahmachari, 25 to 50 years of life would be grihastha, 50 to 75 vanaprastha, 75 to 100 sannyas. But death can come anytime. So the ashramas are such that even if one dies during brahmachari days, if he's remembering Krishna, he'll go back home, back to Godhead. Grihastha time, if he dies, if he has been following Grihastha principles, he'll go back home, back to Godhead. Vanaprastha stage, if someone dies, they'll go back home, back to Godhead as long as they're remembering Krishna. Smartavya satata Krishna, vismartavya na jatuchit. Sarva nidhi vishedhasur, etayor eva kinkara. That always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. All rules and regulations are nothing but servants to this main rule. So in all these different asanas, we can actually remember Krishna, and then if we leave our body in Vanaprastha, there's no need for sannyas. Okay. From Facebook, Shamala Gopika Mataji, Vanaprastha stage, which is explained, it seems it is so impossible to do it. How can we see in this Kali Yuga to follow? Well, in Kali Yuga, there is something called Daivi Varnashram. There is Varnashram system, but Daivi Varnashram, which means everyone comes to serve Krishna according to one's propensity. One and be in the mood of servant of the servant of the servant. If these two things are there, we are serving according to our propensity, serving Krishna and devotees according to our propensity. Maybe we are a software engineer, maybe we are a housewife or a homemaker or parents, or we may be in working in any other different capacity. If we are engaging in the service of the Lord, that is Daivi Varnashram. Instead of having Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Shudra and Vaishyas serving Brahmana and Kshatriya, it's everyone's coming and serving Krishna in the center and serving each other. That's Daivi Varnashram system. That's what is recommended by Srila Prabhupada in modern times. But as much as possible, everyone has primarily Kalau Shudra Sambhava. Everyone is Shudra, but primarily some have inclination towards Brahmana, some have inclinations towards administration, they are Kshatriya, some have inclinations towards Vaishya, business, some have inclination towards Shudra, just some regular work, service. So just follow that. That's important. Anju Agarwal Mataji, did we choose our own parents? Yes and no. Based on our thoughts, our words, our actions, we are creating our next life. We are choosing which home we will be destined to live based on our desire and karma, based on what we desire, what kind of person we are becoming, and our karma, what kind of actions we are doing that are expressing those desires. Then, based on that, we are given, if we deserve, based on what we desire and what we deserve, we may be given a birth in a very high family or a devotee family. Based on what we desire and deserve, we may be given birth in a low family. Depends on how we act in this life. Every thought counts. But the reaction is only when we perform an action, not on the thought in Kali Yuga. So yes, we do choose our parents, but we don't know who our parents would be. But based on our activities, we are narrowing down who exactly it would be. And then if we are always spiritually desiring to go back home, back to Godhead, associating with devotees and like that, then when our parents are doing Garbhadhan Samskar and we leave our body, the soul would enter into those parents. Our soul would enter into the womb of those parents because we desired spiritual advancement. And there we go. In fact, demigods are standing in line to take birth in the house of devotees, Srila Prabhupada said, in Kali Yuga. Okay, so I hope this answers all your questions. Thank you very much. We are very, very grateful for your participation and for giving your feedback. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.